Shalom. This is Yair Davidiy speaking to you from Jerusalem, the capital of Israel, speaking to you on behalf of Brit-Am, Hebrew nations, a movement that finds the lost and tribes amongst Western nations. Today we are beginning our discussion concerning the book of Jeremiah. Jeremiah spoke a lot about the lost and tribes. Jeremiah lived in an age when there was an attempt to reunite the lost tribes of Israel with the kingdom of Judah. There had been 12 tribes of Israel united under King Saul, David, and Solomon. At the death of King Solomon, his son, the son of Brit-Am, the son of Solomon, ruled, and the people were not satisfied with his policies. So the kingdom split into two different sections. The kingdom of the 10 tribes, the kingdom of known as Israel. The kingdom of Israel in the north was separated from the kingdom of the south, known as the kingdom of Judah. From the inhabitants of the kingdom of Judah derived the present-day Jews. The 10 tribes, the majority of the Israelite nations, of the Israelite tribes, were taken into exile by the Assyrians and lost consciousness of their ancestry. Even though there were minority elements from the 10 tribes that did escape to the south and did merge with the Jewish people, the overwhelming bulk of the 10 tribes of Israel were lost. They disappeared. But we have traced them, we have proven it, and the Bible also tells us that they were to merge with others in the west. They would move to the west. They would go to the west. They are now to be found amongst Western nations. And this has been proven. This is proven by the Bible. And every book of the Bible speaks of it. And now concerned with the book of Jeremiah. Jeremiah 1:1 says the words of Jeremiah, the son of Hilkiah, of the priests that were in Anatot in the land of Benjamin. So Jeremiah, Yirmiah in Hebrew, or Yirmiyahu, Jeremiah was the son of Hilkiah, and he was of the family of the priests. He was one of the Cohens. We'd say Cohens, a Cohen. These were the hereditary priests in ancient Israel, and they were descended from Aaron. And many of the books of the Bible, especially of the so-called Pentateuch, the 5 books of the Bible, speak of the priestly duties. So an important element amongst the Israelites. We are told in Jeremiah 1:2, the word of the Lord came in the days of Josiah the son of Ammon, king of Judah, in the 13th year of his reign. So Jeremiah received his prophecy in the time of Josiah. King Josiah the son of Ammon ruled according to conventional dates from 628 BCE to 609. This is BCE, before the Common Era, so we have to go backwards. The higher the number, the earlier the date. This can be confusing because afterwards, after the Common Era, the progression is reversed. The lower the date, the earlier the time. At all events, it was 628 conventionally. Did King Josiah the son of Ammon begin his reign? That is about 100 years after the 10 tribes had been exiled. And he came to rule after the Jews. He ruled over the kingdom of Judah. The Jewish people had become bad. They had worshipped idols, and King Josiah initiated a reform of practice. He began to bring the people back to worship the true God of Israel. And also, he established, according to Jewish sources, he established contact with the lost 10 tribes, and he brought some of them back, and some of them did return. And that is, we are told about this in the Talmud. In the time of King Josiah, Jeremiah went and brought the 10 tribes back. And the commentaries and the other related explanations say that he didn't bring all of them back. He brought back a small portion of them, and that even these only remained until the death of King Josiah, when they returned to their places of exile. But they did attempt, an attempt was made in the time of King Josiah to reunite with the 10 tribes of Israel. And this is what the Jewish Rabbinical Sources tell us, and this corresponds with archaeological and epigraphic and is written evidence concerning what we know about the history of the time, and that attempts were made under the rule of King Josiah for peoples, otherwise known as the Scythians, to come into the land ruled by Josiah, to set up colonies alongside his colonies, and to act in ways that the 10 tribes are described as acting. We have quite a lot of evidence saying that the Scythians and the Cimmerians and the Guti or Goths were from the 10 tribes of Israel, and from these people came a good portion of the present-day inhabitants of western areas. But this correspondence of what the Scythians and the others were doing, and under the direction of Josiah, has been overlooked for some reason. But it shows they were playing for the role, they were fulfilling the part that is delineated for them concerning the 10 tribes of Israel, and this proves that they are to be identified with the 10 tribes of Israel. And under King Josiah, we have Beth-Chan. Beth-Chan is in northern Israel, it's the northern section of Israel. When I first came to Israel, I came to Israel in 1974, I went to an Ulpan on a kibbutz in the Beth-Chan valley, not far away from the city of Beth-Chan. It's quite a nice area. It's fertile, tropical vegetation. It's quite hot, but it's habitable, and it's quite beautiful. At all events, this area of Beth-Chan, incidentally, we don't know if Beth-Chan meant the present-day city of Beth-Chan, because there's a tell there are ruins of a city from that region. But there are some people say that not only the present-day tell and the present-day ruins that can be traced to that Iron Age period, but also other ruins that in some cases extend to the east of the Jordan River, may also be what is termed Beth-Chan in ancient records. With all of it, this region of Beth-Chan became a Scythian centre. The Scythians set up their rulership over it. At that time, the Scythians had taken over control of the whole of the Assyrian Empire. What had happened? The Israelites had been taken to Assyria, had been spread out throughout border areas and also in the centre, and they had also been utilised. The whole regiments of Israelites had been taken into the army, and they're especially proficient in chariotry and chariots and archery and certain other areas of expertise, also in fortifying cities and capturing cities and other areas. And the Israelites quickly began to become prominent in the Syrian army, whereas others of the Israelites were rebelled, or joined up with other peoples and rebelled. So they had two different sections of the Israelites. A portion of them were independent or semi-independent, another portion acted as auxiliaries or as primary forces, primary regiments within the royal Assyrian army itself. And there were wars, and Assyria was suffering and so on, so that eventually the process took place by which the Assyrians the Scythians became more and more prominent in the Assyrian Empire, and they were made de facto partners with it, and they eventually took it over. They took it over and controlled it for 28 years. This is also described more or less by Herodotus, the Greek historian, who lived a few hundred centuries afterwards, and by other sources. And the Hebrew book of Micah, the biblical book of Micah, chapter 5, also describes that. It describes the Israelites being taken into exile by the Assyrians, who destroyed the palaces and the habitations of the Israelites in the land of Israel. But then the Jews and the Israelites being taken into exile, and where they will become subjects, and from subjects they became shepherds or protectors, and then afterwards they became effective rulers of the Assyrian Empire. And at this stage they did apparently connect up with Josiah, king of Judah, and King Josiah induced a portion of them to come and settle in the land of Israel, and to attempt to resettle it and establish a framework which would enable them to return. We have archaeological evidence, and we have of Josiah ruling over Beth-Chan at this time, Josiah being recognized as the ruler of Beth-Chan, even though Brit-Am was, according to other sources, the center of Scythian power in that era. And also we find the Scythians attacking Egypt, attacking the Philistines. And we find Je2 setting up Israelite and Jewish colonies in the region of Philistia, and also in the north in the former areas of Megiddo, in the former areas of Israel. The Assyrians had destroyed. We also find settlements attributed to Je2 in these areas. And eventually the Scythians ruled or controlled, had a de facto control over the Assyrian Empire, and they began to lose it. Also, Assyria was attacked by other forces, and the Scythians attempted to protect her, because that was their task. And but at the last minute they changed sides. And they participated with the Medes and the Babylonians in destroying Assyria, in destroying the Assyrian cities. This is as described in the book of Micah, and also described by Babylonian records. And the Scythians played a major role in this, and this too identifies or confirms the identification of a portion of the Scythians with Israelites. And all this took place around the time of Jeremiah. King Je2 had attempted to prevent the Egyptians from advancing to the north, because the Egyptians were coming to the aid of Assyria, which at that time was an enemy, an adversary of the Scythian power. And Je2 was killed, and so things developed as they developed. As we said, the Scythians, together with the Medes and Babylonians, helped destroy the Syrian Empire. They destroyed the Syrian cities. After that, the king of the Medes gathered together all of the Scythian rulers to celebrate, and whilst they were all drunk, he got them drunk and then he massacred them, and then the Medes and the Babylonians divided the former Assyrian Empire between them, and both forces in stages began to push the Scythians out of the Middle East, where they moved into southern Russia, and from there they moved to Western Europe, and they helped establish West European civilization. And from that we have North America, Canada and the USA, Australia, New Zealand, offshoots of these areas, all of whom have a central core in their populations who are descended from Israelites. And this is, and all what we have said is described in conventional sources, in contemporary sources. Also the Bible refers to it. It also says, we read, for instance, in the 2 Kings, the rest of the acts of Je2 and all that he did, are they not written in the book of Chronicles of the Kings of Judah? In these days, Pharaoh Necho, king of Egypt, went up against the king of Assyria to the river Euphrates. And King Je2 went against him, and he slew him at Megiddo when he had seen him. So the king of Egypt, the Pharaoh Necho, slew King Je2. And we are told before then in the book of Chronicles, as you can see, in the book of Chronicles 2 Chronicles chapter 35 verses 20 to 22, after all this, when Je2 had prepared the temple, Necho king of Egypt came up to fight against Carchemish by Euphrates, and Je2 went out against him. So this we're talking about before King Je2 was killed. He had fixed everything up. He had done everything that he needed to do concerning the temple, and he went out to fight against the king of Egypt, who was coming up to war against his adversaries at Carchemish. So Necho, which is in northern Syria. So as he came out, King Necho, the king of Egypt, of the Egyptians, sent messengers to Je2, and he sent as ambassadors to him, saying, what have I to do with you? King of Judah, I come not against you this day, but against the house wherewith I have war. For God commanded me to make haste, forbear you from meddling with God, who is with me, that he will destroy you not. Nevertheless, Je2 would not turn his face from him, but disguised himself, that he might fight with him, and hearkened not unto the words of Necho from the mouth of God, and came to fight in the valley of Megiddo. So here the Je2 persisted in going out to fight against Necho, even though Necho had a message from God Almighty, as if to say, warning him not to do, because Necho said that he had come up to fight against the other house. There were 2 houses of Israel, the house of Judah and the house of Israel. the house of Israel, meaning the house of the 10 tribes, and Necho was going up to fight against them. He was going up to fight against the Scythians, who were allied with the Medes and Babylonians, against the Assyrians, and the Egyptians were trying to strengthen the Assyrians as part of their play in gaining control of the region and at least balancing the world powers that existed at that time. And so this is what happened, and this too is a proof. It is proof that an attempt was made in that time, as the Jewish sources, the Talmud and so on tells us. And the people who participated in making that attempt were people from the 10 tribes of Israel, and they were those who were otherwise identified with the Scythians. May the God of Israel bless all of you. Thank you.